Hello, I'm Joan Landis. So today I want to tell you a true story about one of my clients who had been traumatized as a child and how it showed up in his life and how he had a lot of defensive armor built in. But one of the mantras that every client, every counselor knows is that the thickest armor protects the deepest wounds. And so most counselors are not afraid of armor. We're not even really afraid of anger. We understand what function it's how it's functioning to protect something very wounded. So this is a true story that happened earlier in my career. I was working for a community mental health organization, and I was assigned to do an anger management group for just anyone in the community. And we'd been doing it for a while, and a new member came, and he had just been released from prison. And it was for road rage. He was convicted of road rage, and then what he would do is he would drive the freeways looking for lawbreakers, and then he would, in a very angry manner, threaten or pull them over and then threaten. He could beat people up like you can't believe. I mean, assault was nothing to this guy. And then one time a police officer got involved, and I don't know exactly what happened, but it was enough to put him in prison. Okay. So he'd been released from prison, and I mean, the guy was like, wow. He was just armored up as much as he possibly could be and still, look like a regular human. And so he had really rough haircut and a really rough, craggy face, missing a lot of teeth, big tats everywhere, really kind of aggressive leather type clothing. His stance, his posture, his voice, everything was conveying power, masculinity, strength, and aggressiveness, and don't cross me. So immediately I'm like, this is going to be one of my favorite people, I can tell. And so we worked together in this group for a while, and it was interesting because he was amazingly emotionally available. Okay, what that meant was his outside demeanor and clothing and grooming was very kind of off-putting to, a lot of people. But when you peeled back a little bit of that armor, he was actually really authentic and pretty open to, connecting with emotions. It was like very few people had made it safe for him to do that. So I said, do you want to do some individual work? Because I can see that you're ready for it, and it might really kind of propel you forward faster. So he jumped on that opportunity, and so we worked together and did some individual work, and I taught him about, the layers of emotion and core issues, and boy, he was soaking it up. He was listening and really connecting the dots for himself. Well, after a few weeks, he came in and he said, I think I've figured out what one of my main core issues are and what happened. And I said, what is it? And he said, when I was about 5 or 6 years old, my father was an alcoholic. Now, all he would have to do is stop there. And as a clinician, we'd go, whoa, okay, that's probably enough trauma to mess you over for a long time, right? But he kept going, and he said, my dad would drink in bars until it was, my mom wanted him to come home. And so she would send me, and I would go to the back. I don't know what small town he lived in, but he said he would go to the back door and kind of call to his dad to come home. Mom wants you home, that kind of thing. And when he was 5 years old, his dad came out the back of that bar, and he had obviously been drinking a lot. And he took that little son of his and sexually assaulted him. And my client said, after that, I made a promise to myself that when I got my growth, when I was a big man like my dad, that I would not allow cruelty and wrongdoing like that to exist in my world. That I was going to make sure all of those wrongs were righted. And so that's how he survived. That thought, that determination to cope by becoming very strong and being on the side of, protecting the being law-abiding and not doing wrong things. That was his way of coping with that unhealed pain. And so as he grew up, he realized, on some level, he couldn't prevent all sexual abuse or all child abuse. But the one thing he could do was to be the Batman of the freeway and just patrol for people who were breaking the law, and then being, having this vengeance and really, laying into them in ways that he probably wished he could have done with his father, but he couldn't. So suddenly he connected all the dots. And he said, I always wondered why I had this compulsion to patrol the freeways and get after people and be so angry. Why was I so angry about it? And he said, now I realized I wasn't evil, I wasn't crazy, I wasn't weak, but I had been hurt. And it was the only thing I knew to make myself feel better and more powerful so that it wouldn't happen again. And I just loved the work that he did. And it was so interesting because he was able to do so much better. His level of functioning rose significantly. His ability to just understand himself, moderate the angry outbursts, to have more compassion for himself, more compassion for other people, and more compassion for that little 5-year-old boy, right? That little 5-year-old boy that was so deeply hurt and nobody was around to help him heal. So I just want to share that with you about how trauma can function. Now, all of us have not had such dramatic experiences, but most of us have had something that left us with wounds and core issues and doubts and questions about ourselves at our very core. And until we connect with that, until we feel the pain, we can't heal the pain. But we do need to feel that pain with lots of social support, okay? And I can talk about that another time. But that's what a good counselor does, is they are there for you to offer you lots of support as you recall and connect with that pain again. But with a counselor, it ends up different because you're not alone in that pain. You actually have someone there to say, oh man, that should never have happened. And I'm here for you. And I can feel it right with you. And that person did not deserve to have that happen. And so, anyway, just helping you understand kind of how trauma can affect people and how connecting with it with a supportive network can actually begin to heal that wound. Anyway, it's been great being with you. See you later. Bye.